Hey, good evening. Hope everyone is well and had a great day, great trading day, of course. And today is the 28th of April, 2026. So yes, just like the title says, it's open AI is wrecking ball. We have the core industry aspect as well. They are all wrecking collectively. But what do I think is the problem here? I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I know, but as usual, I am presenting the evidence, and just the same thing, or the same way I did. I think towards the end of last year, as we had this. Personally, to me, market looks quite stretched. That's all I can say. But let's have a look. And I saw a bit of correlation today, and I thought I should bring it to your notice. Let's look at the BK box right here. Intentionally trying to leave this box untouched, just so that we can, whoever is watching, we can see whatever we think is is happening really. So, number one, you can see the market here. Look at that V-shaped bottom right there that was formed, and it just created a gap. Okay, which I mean, is it going to get filled? Not all gaps get filled, unfortunately. But at the same time, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, if you're short or if you're going long. But look at that. So, I mean, like I call this the island in the sky a while back. And, you could see this island which we have in the sky, and that's going on right now. It's happening. Do we know what it will be? I don't know what the case is. But, today it's hardly anything to cry over. We had a 1% drawdown. But honestly, there's a reason for that. And what was the reason? I posted it in the group today because we did have OpenAI. Let's just start with that. OpenAI was, they literally wrecked everything. I think there's got to be something about their deal not panning out properly, and as a result of that, I mean, I'm going to put it right here. Well, sorry, I said the deal. Yes, OpenAI. They, and Elon Musk, going to court. We know OpenAI started off as a what's the word again I'm looking for? It started off as a non-profit company organization, but became profitable when I think Elon Musk was on the board at some point, or started with by Elon Musk and some old man and a few other guys, I think. Anyway, it was a profitable company. It was a non-profitable company, or started off as non-profit, ended up being switched to a profitable company, and Elon Musk is taking some old man to court. The core reasons I do not know, but just talking about what I can see right here. So, so NVIDIA, AMD, Microsoft, all of them were down. They fell as a result of that, because, and also, OpenAI is being short of revenue and users target. I think there's something about word on the street is they're trying to delay their IPO was it 2029 now? I think so. I think they want to delay, sorry, because not 2029. They want to delay the IPO because they don't see themselves being profitable until 2029. So NVIDIA down to 0.8%. Don't forget NVIDIA hit all-time high yesterday. Microsoft's down 1.2. AMD, also AMD smashed all-time high recently. So this to me is a nothing burger. I mean, I don't even know how it performed during the day. If you pull back eventually, and this is AMD. Well, there you go. About 3.4%, really. No, nothing burger, not a big deal in terms of what it was. Just a gentle pullback, and it kind of looks like it's well orchestrated. So that's Microsoft, that's AMD. Let's look at Microsoft as well. What was Microsoft's reaction? If you recall, again, look at that. Microsoft eventually closed on a high. I mean, look at Microsoft. It's got a pivot to go right to the high right now, which is impressive. And NVIDIA is now, don't forget, NVIDIA is now a 5 trillion, behemoth, really. I mean, look at that. 5 trillion. Whatever you say it is what it is, and that's all I can say. The last 5 years, 1,300%, 10x, easily 13x. So what can I say? No dog in this fight, by the way. Don't know if we're ever going to see another NVIDIA, but we shall see. Also, boom, 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 boom. Yes, UAE pulled out of OPEC. Really? Let's look at crude oil futures. I keep talking about, half the time when I keep talking about something, not because I necessarily have a dog in the fight, it's because I believe something is about to happen. But what do I think this is going to be? So anyway, put something out in the group, and I'm going to read it out quickly. So OPEC is a cartel, like affecting farmers agreeing to sell less wheat so prices stay high. So that's the cartel. They want to sell oil at the same price, so the prices stay high. UAE could produce about 5 million barrels a day. OPEC said you can only sell 3.2 million. So the rest sits idle every single day. But that gap costs Abu Dhabi about $100 million daily in foregone revenue. Over a year, north of $35 billion just sitting there unused to keep Saudi Arabia's price management alive. So UAE just said, okay, that's enough. Now it can sell everything it produces, more oil in the market. That means the prices could fall. Saudi Arabia must now cut its own production even further to compensate, alone destroying its own revenue to hold the cartel together that just lost its third biggest member. Remember, we have Saudi is the biggest member. I think we have Iraq the second, and UAE is the third. And the domino problem is what really frightens Riyadh. Qatar left 2019, Angola 2023, UAE 2026. Nigeria, Iraq, and Kazakhstan are all sitting on unused capacity right now, watching UAE's math carefully. OPEC is not dead, but it has lost 13% of its production capacity and 100% of the fiction that members will keep accepting billions in losses for collective discipline. So that was my take in the focus group. Basically, that's how I see. And I mean, initially, if you remember, a few days ago, I protested based on the cup and handle that I think oil is about to, go parabolic at some point. When I do not know. But anyway, this I think is just going to be a temporary derailment before oil keeps back on its move. But anyway, that's another one there. Another news today I had was a CNC. I have a dog in the fight. Of course, as you can see, that was a huge parabolic 14% move. Boom, non-stop. That's another one there. That was a success. Unfortunately, I do have it there in my portfolio. I think things are going so well, and I mean, it's feeding off the success of UNH really. So maybe the entire sector is what we need to start paying attention to right now. You can see that UNH is going parabolic again, just like CNC. And we could look at a few in the industry. I think it's time now for these guys. Okay, the other thing I saw, so bring a few to your mind, and so you can see the draw I'm looking at now. With the Qs down, what do you notice? Qs are down. Look at Berkshire. Okay, BRK, not exactly mint, but the money flowed into BRK. It was a 1% move. That's a great move. BRK has been it's been flat for a while now, but look at that. Can you see that pattern playing out? It looks like it's trying to squeeze. And once it squeezes, as long as this bottom has been remained, this might just, sorry, this might just move up. But we'll see. I keep saying this market is being squeezed right now. And the more this market gets squeezed, the better it is for BRK. Again, another one I was looking at today, not exactly I was looking at, but generally, just looking at the downers of today, and I noticed a correlation, and I'm just going to show you some of them quickly. So let's just look at it. Yeah, I'm not just picking at random, literally the ones that went down today. And what do you notice? This is this is health tech. This is an anomaly, but you can see this just I've never even heard of this company until today. But again, let's pick another one. Okay, so Vistas, take my nose, VRSN. Now pay attention. What do you notice? This is electronic technology down. This is just crazy. Lost 50% of its value today. Okay, that's one. Another one is Rambus. Rambus actually was earnings loss last night. So overall, it closed down to the RMBS. It closed down today aggressively at what? 21%. Again, if I'm going to call it criminal. CRML, CRML. Let's have a look. CRML again also lost 18% of its, which is crazy, of its market cap. So this is actually been down. Again, what do you notice again? Okay, this is non-energy, but let's look at the other one I was talking about, RMBS, electronic technology. Are you seeing what I am seeing? ENPH. Even yesterday, I mean, this kind of seems like this group is semiconductor, but so what it is. It is still electronic technology, down aggressively after hours. Okay, let's see another one. What do you notice? What the name is? Electronic. Okay, producer manufacturing. So electronic technology, producer manufacturing. These guys are not just getting. They can't catch a break. Really, that's all I can say. And well, I'm seeing a bit of a correlation in them. A car yesterday, which I mentioned again. And what do you notice about the group where it belongs to? Electronic technology is still down. So I think this whole group, you've got to avoid it for now until it pulls back because it's been just crazily, been on a run, on a tear. And also, even Spotify. Now, this Spotify is not, why is not electronic technology? I noticed another correlation right here. So that's one, technology services. I mean, a few other technology services I can talk about as well, ready to gain. So we've been talking about electronic technology is one area I'm avoiding now. Ready technology services, another downer right there. So these are areas you've got. I mean, Wolf Speed, what does that do? What does that do? I mean, I know the company, just don't know what sector it belongs to. Let's see. Electronic technology. We've been talking about electronic technology. So you can see this is not a correlation. Markets moves in stories, the moves in themes. Look, OKLO. So these are the areas you want to avoid. Producer manufacturing. So producer manufacturing, electronic technology, technology services. These guys are not giving much joy at the moment. So these are the areas I'm avoiding, unfortunately for me, unfortunately. And I'm just focused on, I think right now, what I'm going to say is, I'm not really trading, just focusing, looking at the market. And, I was watching look at that, technology services again, Rios. I was watching something today. So, an interview by Paul Tudor Jones, and I think you should find it. It's an impressive interview, by the way. And he said, boxing, sorry, not boxing. He said, trading team is like, trading is like, boxing. He said, jab, jab, jab. Okay? Jab, jab, jab. And eventually one day, boom, bang. Once you find an opening. So that's the way market is like. You jab, you jab, you jab. You just start watching and boom, immediately you hit the market. So I think a lot of people are, I do have people who just constantly overtrading. What do we expect? I'm going to post a few shots. I think, for example, when there's somebody I'm working with, been mentoring, and they said, "Oh, CNC, which is a company we had an opening on," and they said, "What should I do?" I said, "Do nothing." When it was down, I said, "Do nothing." I said, "Okay, maybe you want to buy more. The setup is great; it's still there." And he said, "What should I do?" I said, "Do nothing." He said, "Oh, okay." Oh, it's about to, it's not going up here. I said, "Just wait. These are the jabbing moments. You just jabbing." And eventually, at some point today, he was up. And I said, and this person came to me. I did not even know he was up. I wasn't watching. And he said, "Oh, he's up today. What should I do?" I said, "Well, there you go then." So, this was the chat we had. If I can just copy some of the chat. As you can see today, and it said, "Oh, it's now at 45. Should I sell?" And this, I mean, we kind of get lucky sometimes, I got to say, but it's not just luck. It's just sometimes the when they said opportunity means preparation. So good afternoon. It's now 45. Should I still exit at 50? And I said, "Now, wait." So sometimes it's the patience, and what Paul Tudor Jones said is that he doesn't have the patience of Buffett, but it wishes it has it, and that's what brings the results. just a little more. He said sometimes all you need to do is sit and wait and do nothing. You've executed, you trust your execution and just wait. There's quite a few stocks I did believe we're not going to do well. And I remember people buying some of this. I mean, this is just garbage. I'm sorry. When it was at 190 something. And look at it now. These guys just value destroyers. You got to be able to, find the good one. What worked yesterday will not necessarily work today. And so these are some of the things I see. And again, it belongs to the production, to manufacturing. You just notice that market moves in themes. So if you invested in some of this, it's not, technology services, not necessarily, it does not necessarily mean what you have is bad. It's just not your turn. Just wait. And that's why you need to always have capital. But generally, I've got one more fact I've got to talk about. And this thing here, I'm going to actually say, please take it seriously if you're watching this. Very, very important. This is why you need to study the legend. And there's people talk about this Buffett indicator. I'm going to show you something which look, if you try to time the top, we don't know when it would happen. Nobody knows. But one thing you got to understand is that this thing always happens. It would happen like a thief in the night. In 2000, do you know what happened? The market didn't just sell off immediately. It sold off gradually. It was a structured selling, and you might just keep thinking, "Oh, let me buy the dip, let me buy the dip, let me buy the dip." But guess what happened? Are we on the cues? Okay, I'm going to show you the cues so you can see what happened here. When the market dropped, we did not recover for. I mean, it's the same story all the time. The market did not recover for a good. Let's see. You see that? Boom. That's a good 15 years. We had it dropped from 2000. It did not break even until 2016. So, it just feels like, yeah, we might not get that again because they're going to keep printing money. Yes, they're going to keep destroying your value, but you got to be careful still. This is your pension, this is your inheritance, this is your sweat you're playing with. Sometimes you just have to do, I started off this year with 40%, ended up doing nothing, started touching it, and eventually I realized I was at 30% I just thought, you know what, do nothing. And that's what's been saving me now. I could literally close the year and say, yeah, close at 40%. And that's the thing, no validation from anybody. This is what I was looking at today. Extremely, extremely important. And if you notice something here, can you see what happened in 2000? It was an all-time high and market collapsed. Okay, so it's 2007, which wasn't as bad, but it collapsed eventually. And now, can you see we are just literally, if you look at the S&P to GDP ratio, we're literally just back to an all-time high. You gotta be gentle. You don't know when this thing is gonna happen, but when it happens, it's gonna be like a thief in the night. That's all I've got to say to you today, and I hope everyone listens. And but the core is falling apart. I'm not saying this is the beginning, but you never know. Might be the beginning of the end. Look, we've got new Fed chairman coming in. He's going to be his own person. At the end of the day, they don't want to destroy the economy, but you got to understand the metrics, the macros are screaming something. Somebody said, "I said you have to hold cash." And they said, "Oh, but how long do I have to hold it for?" I said, "It doesn't matter. It could be 2, 3, 4 years sometimes. Put in your savings account. So you got to have some cash available." Guess what? The best time to make the most money is when the macros are down, and that's the best time to make. Sorry, when there's like a, how do I call it, a black swan event, and when the macros say something big. But right now, valuation does not matter, but until it does. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and hope everyone learned something today. Sorry, it's a bit of a protracted one today.